You need truth and life. Here is the Brother Leon Show. You better recognize.
What's going on, listeners? This is your boy, Brother Leon, the prophet to the streets and the pastor to the people. Yes, I'm going in today because the crazy part about it, man, you got to understand that there is a civil war in the prophetic, and I said this a while back. That's the God knows truth, because you're seeing the prophetic voices, and I'm not going to lie, they're men of God, and I totally get the whole thing of their perspective and what God is showing them. But my thing is, I'm like, look, if you're going to be Republican, be Republican. If you're going to be Democrat, be Democrat. But the problem that I have is when you start mixing nationalism and Bible. Because you got to look at this. We live in a nation that says it's Christian, but it's not. Because the crazy part about it is that you have to understand that we live in a nation that has multi-religions, and everybody is not going to be saved. Sorry to say it, but it's the truth. And I want you guys to realize and wake up to this fact that if we do not watch ourselves, we could go to one extreme or the other, where we are to the place where we are, quote unquote, so super Christian that we condemn people with the mercy and the love that we're supposed to have. Or we could allow ourselves to be so loose that we just allow lawlessness to just run throughout the land. But there needs to be a balance. And that is why we need the prophetic voice that is not given to this whole political scheme, that is not bought by the Jezebel on the right or the Jezebel on the left, because there is the spirit of Jezebel. And she does have her prophets, Republican and Democrat. Yeah, I said it. But my question is, who is going to be for the people? Regardless whether they're saved or not. Regardless whether they adhere to our Christian principles or not. Who is going to be for the people? That's my question. Because I have heard prophets on both sides talk about what God is showing them and what's going to happen. And I'm not going to lie, that may be what God is showing them. But the thing that really grieves me the most is when you take and mix the word of God with nationalism so that you can project and promote their agenda. So in other words, you're just another talking point for this political machine. And the crazy part about it is that when you break down some of the values and some of the views and some of the things that the party is supposed to represent, you don't see that in their personal lives. You see the racism, you see the hypocrisy on both sides. But my question is, who's going to be on the Lord's side? Who is going to be on the side of truth? Because you can't sit up here and talk about, hey, we need to save these black people, and yet not even give a flip about the black body or even say anything condemning the racism that is against them. You know, and the crazy part about it, I'll flip it again. We can't be so daggone so pro-life, pro-choice that now all of a sudden you say something the wrong way, you getting canceled. Or somebody goes into your past and next thing you know, here it is, you're trying to be an ally, and now here comes cancel culture. Or better yet, you know, you have the hypocrisy of, yeah, we want our men to take their rightful place and to be in the family, but then, you know, I don't need a man. And then you have extreme, you know, groups that is coming against society one way or another. as we know it. Now, granted, I ain't gonna lie. There have been things that have changed in our society. And one thing that you got to realize is this: the Bible will never be politically correct. That's the God knows truth. But the church can be progressive. I'm going to let that sink in. And I'm going to say it again. The Bible will never be, it has never been a politically correct book. But the church can be progressive. And the one thing that I want you guys to understand is this, is as I speak to you today, you got to understand my stance. My stance is I am for freedom. I am anti-racist. I am for freedom. I am for the black community, the brown community. I am for the community of people that have been marginalized. Whether they are gay, straight, Christian, non-Christian, it doesn't matter. If they're born with melanin, I'm for them. Now, it does not mean that I hate white people. It does not mean that I am not, that I am against them. I am anti-racist. I am against the system that has put black people and people of color, chewed them up, spit them out, and made money off of it. That's what I'm for. And so I'm here to tell you today that this is the time and that this is the season that it has to be about people. It has to be about people. It has to be about our community. And that's the God knows truth. I love everybody. But one thing that I want you to realize right now is that the community that I am in and that I represent, that I come from, is under attack. And if you can't see that right now, I don't know what's wrong. And I know it's going to be a whole lot of people that say, well, brother, you need to flow with the love of God. You putting your color above God. No, I'm not. Because I look at it like this. I'm made in the image and likeness of God. God looks just like me. I look like him. You look like him. He looks like you. And because I am a son of God, I can't sit here and allow myself the luxury of silence. I can't. Because right now, what you're seeing right now is you're seeing men. You're seeing prominent black men that right now, they look like us. And that's what the Bible says. There are those who came in with us, but they were not of us. And there are those who look like us, but they are not like us. They look like us, but they're not us. They stopped identifying with the culture a long time ago. And if you look at the wordage, if you look at the words that are being used when you hear these Senate hearings on white supremacy and racism and who they bring, and then you look at you look at some of the things that are on social media and some of the things that are on TV. And then you hear some of these wealthy men who have acceptance, who have a level of acceptance and a level of achievement through sports. Some of the things that they say, they vilify even their own when they begin to protest about what is happening in our community. And the sad part is that how is it that you as a black man, we know you from sports, we have admired you, we have followed your career, and then you have the audacity to say that some of these people that are protesting and kneeling for the national anthem is wrong and they disrespecting the flag. It was never about disrespecting the flag. It was bringing notice to what is happening in the black community. And the crazy part about it is that when you do the contrast, when it came to 9/11, oh, we'll never forget. But when you get to talking about what's happening in the black community and the people that have been marginalized, police brutality, police shootings, these are the things that these men are protesting against and using their platforms to bring awareness to. And yet they're being vilified by the same men that came out of the same NFL, NBA, however you want to put it, business that these present people are in. And it's a shame. And then you have the audacity to say and to cover up for a person that has attacked brothers just like you. And that is what I mean when I talk about the weaponized black privilege. Seriously. The weaponized black privilege. My question is, Herschel Walker, let me ask you this. How is it that you can say that about our president, but yet forget about what he has said about the Central Park Five? Forget about the history that he has had about black renters. Forget about the fact that he said about football players just like yourself, fire those sons of bitches. And also, when he has talked about Africa, African nations, calling them shithole countries. My question is, why is it that you can take and protect that? Why is it that you can take and run defense for that, block for that, while he runs the ball? Seriously, I really would like to know that. Because the crazy thing is that you were given a level of access. You were given a level of acceptance. And it brought you and afforded you a life and a right of privilege. But now you taking using your privilege to attack the community in which you was born into. And I get it. I ain't gonna lie, man. You get enough money, it'll make you oblivious. It insulates you to what's actually going on. I get it. But don't allow yourself to be used as a weapon and even, condemn those who are in sports just like you. That's the one thing that I don't get. That's the one thing I really don't get, even when it comes to some of our Christian people that still, look the other way. Prophetic voices looking the other way. Apostolic voices looking the other way. So you cool. You cool with that. You cool with everything that has been said. And one thing that I do agree with you is this, is yes, God has sent him for a specific time in a specific season. And that is so that this whole thing about the hidden racism is being brought to the top. Sometimes, man, you got to stir it to bring the cream to the top. And that's the God knows truth. That's what's happening. That's the 2020 vision. Yes, the spiritual climate is changing. I agree with that. Seriously. But the crazy thing is that, you expect everybody to adhere to what is being put out, what is being said, and try to tell people, no, it really ain't like that. Yeah. Try to tell me you ain't pissing on me and then tell me it's raining. Yeah. You pissing on me and trying to tell me that it's rain. Really? No. I'm not for the golden shower. Neither are the people, because we see through it. Because the Bible says that evil communication corrupts good morals, corrupts good manners, and you've allowed yourself to be blinded by your so-called friendship. My question is, you think y'all be cool if you didn't have that access? If you wasn't a sports figure or a sports star? If you didn't have the type of money that you had? Because the crazy thing is that money only makes you what you are. It makes you what you already are. And there have been black people that have bought into the notion that all blacks want are a handout. That, and the crazy part is that you have people believing that the fall of this nation is going to be the LGBTQ plus community. Now, it's going to take more than that One community is not going to destroy our nation. It's going to be men with greed who are going to be combined with people who are passionate about their issues. There's going to be teamwork when it comes to the destruction of this nation. It's not just going to be one person. It's going to be a team. But I will say this, as long as there are people who stand upon the word, who stand upon the Bible, who are praying, it's not going to happen. But you got to understand that there are people who are using agendas, who are using communities to progress Satan's wicked agenda. And his wicked agenda involves politics. It involves communities. It involves men of power. My question is, are we going to be a part of that agenda? My question is, are we going to allow the wrong person to buy our freedom and then we be loyal to that person and to their cause? Because trust and believe, you can be bought by the wrong person. You can be freed by the wrong person. Because trust and believe, there were slave masters and overseers that used black slaves and black men to do their bidding, to go hunt down their brothers and sisters that were trying to escape. Did you see Harriet Tubman? Oh, trust and believe. You will always have somebody who is like that, who will be the Judas, who will sell out. And a lot of people get mad because they hear the word sellout. My question is, why do you attack? Why do you allow somebody that's not even from your community to attack your community and you stay silent? So my question is, do you agree with what is being said? Do you agree with everything that person has said and done when it comes to the black community? But yet, forget all of this. But the fact that he got some people out of prison, okay, I take that. But the crazy thing is that as many people as he has gotten out of prison, he still hasn't offered an apology to the Central Park Five. Not even acknowledge the fact that, hey, I was wrong. So my question is, what about those? And then those who have gotten out, yeah, they are a part of the party now. Some of them. And I get it. You are loyal to the one that gives you your freedom. But the one thing I will say this, I'm not your Negro. I'm not going to be your talking piece. I'm not going to allow you to use me as a weapon. And my soul's not for sale. I burned a bridge to a pastorship. Because I made up in my mind, I'm not going to be used. Now, you may have a problem with Black Lives Matter, the organization. But the terminology itself, if you have a problem with that, something is definitely wrong. And there's something wrong with your theology. Yeah, I said it. So that's the question for today. You got to understand, the gifting of black privilege as well as the curse of black privilege. The gifting of black privilege, it allows you the power. It gives you the resource to get your people above the scratch line. And when you have ownership with black privilege, you call the shots. No one can control you. No one can buy you if you are the owner. But when you don't have ownership, they control you. They control the narrative. They control the definition. And you got to do what they say. They could tell you right now, hey, in order for us to continue to sponsor you, we need for you to be vocal on this. We need for you to stay silent on that. We need for you to show up at this hearing and speak for us and tell us how you came up. But the whole notion is, they tell you, hey, I did it through hard work. I did this. I did that. Granted, yes. So have a lot of people. But you can't sit up here and vilify those who came up through hard work and used their privilege to help people to get above the scratch line, and then use their privilege to condemn the systems and the people that are a part of those systems that are destroying our communities. And trying to tell you, hey, it's all you. It's black on black crime. But they ain't going to talk about the redlining. They're not going to talk about the history of slavery and the effects of Jim Crow. They're not going to talk about that. They'll give you their family history, and that's it. And then they tell you, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. But I'm going to tell you what Martin Luther King says. It's a cruel jest to tell a bootless man to pull himself up by his own bootstraps. I'm going to tell you right now, we barely got boots. We just now getting sandals. Yeah, I said it. Because you hear it. If you will focus on this, then you will be oblivious to the whole notion of racism. It doesn't exist. Really? Really? Let me ask you this. If racism and slavery didn't exist, who was Frederick Douglass? Who was W.E.B. Du Bois? Why was Martin Luther King here? Seriously. And if a lot of you believe that it was done with Obama, I'm going to tell you, man, we lucky that we got 8 years with him. His hands were tied big time. And nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about everything that he tried to do that was blocked. And then some of the stuff that he had to do to get shit passed. Yeah, I said it. But you got to understand is that the presidency isn't about, a lot of times, the community in which you represent and come from. Because I'm going to tell you, when it comes to white people being president, oh yeah, that's oblivious. Of course they're going to do for every person that has white skin. But a black person being president, man, please, if it even smells like he doing something for black people, you're going to have an uprise. That's the God knows truth. Because the crazy thing is that you see it today. You see it when you hear all these Mexicans is taking our jobs. Mexicans are not taking your jobs. Mexicans are not taking your jobs. Mechanics, the machines, mechanized things and systems are taking your jobs. That's the God knows truth. Now, if you know how to fix a robot, yeah. But I'm going to tell you, man, some of these old things that our forefathers, grandfathers, fathers retired from, I'm telling you right now, you lucky if you still got a job like that, because factory and manufacturing, they're sending that overseas. And the crazy part that really gets me the most is that people get mad when they see Mexicans coming in, you know, at a lower rate, when you got guys who are union at a higher rate and they're not getting hired for specific jobs, for particular jobs, for contract jobs. And they get mad at the workers. I'm like, yo, man, don't get mad at them. Get mad at the guy that brought them in. Get mad at the guy that's cutting them a check. Get mad at the guy that's paying them under the table. You never see that. You never hear that. But you want to say the Mexicans are taking all of our jobs. Man, we have got to wake up and smell the coffee that has been burning. Seriously, you've been asleep too long. Been asleep too long, because you got to understand this, is that there are corporate people, their whole end is, what can I do to make my portfolio better? How can I make my whole retirement comfortable? How is it that a CEO can crash a company and still get a bonus? And yet everybody is out of a job. You don't know if you're going to get a pension. You don't know where your 401k is. And everybody's talking about the stock market. That's what everybody's talking about. And the crazy part about it is the average Joe does not have stock in the company. That's what I'm talking about. But yet you got these talking figures that have black skin, but they have white supremacist souls. And they have been taken by the white gaze. Because now they've been given a level of black privilege that afforded them a life, that have afforded them comfortability. And because of that insulation, now you've been insulated so much, you can't even identify with your own people. You can't identify to your own people to the point where now you're willing to look the other way. Just like some of these quote unquote good cops willing to look the other way. Just like some of these white women who are willing to look the other way. Just like some of these black women who are willing to look the other way, and Hispanic and black men. People in general looking to look the other way. Because the cold reality is you've allowed yourself to sell out. You've allowed yourself to be compromised. You've allowed yourself to be bought by an agenda. And then some of you actually, are saying that the ends will justify the means. If I go with this, at least we'll have this at the expense of something else. I'm going to tell you, man, the exchange is never fair. The exchange is never fair. So I want you guys to realize where we are right now and what we're seeing right now. Yeah, this is 2020 vision. You are seeing who is who on both sides. I'm serious, on both sides. And it angers me because it's like, hey, I'm a Democrat, vote for me because I'm black. Vote for me because I'm a black woman. I need to see some stuff. Especially with the local elections. Oh my God. I need to see some voting records. Because y'all guys are good when it comes to election time. Oh, hey, let's give these niggas a barbecue, a book bag drive, and we can just get whatever we want passed because they'll vote for us because we're black and we fed them. That's what I mean when I say they can buy your loyalty. And we fall for that shit every time. Somebody throw a rib in our mouth, give our kids a free this, a free that. We gonna vote for them, not even looking at the not even looking at the record. Seriously, not even looking at the record. Vote for them because they black. They might have been the same person that voted against things that could keep the neighborhood safe. Whether it be body cameras, whether it be whether it be, having a diversity in the police force that polices your community. Because my question still is this: how is it that you can have a majority of white police that police black communities, and then you wonder why this happens? Seriously. So that's my question. But I'm going to tell you this. You have to look at the blessing of black privilege. Black privilege, when it's a blessing, it can help people get above the scratch line and open doors for people who normally wouldn't have doors open for them. It could be the thing that helps a person pay it forward. It can actually be a thing that could bring life to the neighborhood, that can bring revitalization, that could bring jobs, that can help people keep that which they have fought and worked for all their lives. Why is it that black people are losing their houses more than white people? How is it that black farmers are losing their farms and losing their lands to developers? We need a person that is going to stand for the community. And that's the God knows truth. But when it's a curse, you will take and damn your community. You will leave your community. You will never look back. And then as soon as somebody gives you the opportunity, you will talk about the people that you came from. And that's the God knows truth. We seeing it all the time. And then they use you as a tool, and then they discard you when they don't need you anymore. Look what happened to Diamond and Silk. They had a show on Fox. They ain't on that no more. But who they gonna go back to? Seriously, who they gonna go back to? You would think, man, that somebody would stand up for them and tell Fox, hey, yo, come on, they've been riding with us for a while. Is anybody standing up for them? Please let me know. So, I'm going to tell you, man, I totally do not get some of these people. I'm serious. I thoroughly believe that once you get a taste of that money, once you get a taste of Hollywood, once you get a taste of fame, you have got to watch and make sure that it does not blind you to what is going on in your community. That's why I love Dave Chappelle. He's still in these streets. He still talks about what's relevant, what's happening. His last special, I know a whole lot of people weren't happy with it. But I understand his anger. I understand his pain. I totally get what he's saying. I totally got sticks and stones. Totally got it. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I get it. But I'm here to tell you, man, we have got to wake up. And the one thing that God has really been dealing with me about is this, is to make sure that you do not make idols out of the thing that you are standing with and the thing that you're standing for. And I'm telling you, I know I got to keep myself in prayer, because I can turn this whole fight. I don't want this fight to become my idol, because I always want to be where God is. And you should never allow communities, agendas, ideas, people, places, or things to become an idol. And allow that thing to sit where God is. Because when it becomes an idol, God said this, that I will have no other gods before me. And God is a jealous God. And the one thing about it is that he will make sure that that thing falls when it becomes an idol. And I don't never want to put a thing, in God's place. I don't ever want to become nobody. I don't want to become nobody's idol. Seriously. Put me on a pedestal, I'll fall. So that's why I'm trying to stay as humble as possible. Because I'm going to tell you, man, everybody got flaws. I got flaws. You done heard some of them. But at the end of the day, it's about, okay, I'm going to stand with God. And God is for his people. God is for people being free. And I'm going to tell you this, man. I got to give you some scripture. That's the God knows truth. I'm going to give you Luke chapter 18, verse 10. 2 men went up into the temple to pray. The one a Pharisee and the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice in the week. I give tithes of all that I possess. And the publican, standing afar off, will not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. So you got to understand is that when you see people with that type of black privilege that want to condemn what they're actually saying, I'm not like this. I'm not like those niggas. I'm not like those who want a handout, who are always looking for something. But then you have those who are saying, Lord, be merciful unto us. Be merciful unto us. And God is giving them justification. And I love the whole symbolism of scripture, which says the last shall be first and the first shall be last. And a lot of people are trying to say, what you trying to say, black people are better? No, I'm trying to tell you that black people are equal too. Because the one thing that you have to realize is that for decades, black people have been treated inferior, but yet they have always been equal too. They were strong enough to endure slavery. And slavery didn't break us, it wounded us, but it didn't break us. Because if it would have broken us, we would have never had Rosewood. We would have never had Black Wall Street. So we are capable and humble at the same time because we are forgiving. We are forgiving. We have been compliant. We have been a whole lot of things that white people have not been to us. But I'm here to tell you this day is that we cannot allow even our privilege to be an idol. And for those that would take and use their privilege to insulate and protect white privilege and racism and white supremacy, you are a weapon against the black community. I'm going to call it just like I see it. Is there work that we need to do? Yeah, there's work that we need to do. We need to get our economic house in order. We need to stop following black and white leadership that's not going to address the problems in the community. That's the God knows truth. That's why I said black ties matter. I'm not telling black people not to worship God in their giving. What I'm telling them is that they need to escape those who are financing their oppressors. Yeah, I said it. Black and white. Because there are black people, just like white people, who are financing the black community's oppression. And nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to talk about that. But they'll have you, shouting church, buck dancing all over the place, speaking in tongues, and taking your money and sending it into systems and to people who do not have your best interests. And you need to check that. Yeah, I said it. I said it then on Facebook. I'm saying it again. So you got to wake up and realize, man, just where we are. We can't sit around here and allow ourselves to be put in a position where now, here it is, we got Judas selling us out. Seriously. So be aware who is among you. But also know this. There may come people who will betray, but we still overcome. And we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony in all things. Work together for our good. And that's the God knows truth. You just got to understand and know that betrayal at times is a part of life. A lot of times we don't like to see it. A lot of times we don't like to know that it is that way. And we think that, oh, hey, that's my brother. Nah, you can't call every man your brother. That has to be proven. Every man is not going to be your friend. That has to be proven too. And just because they're black does not mean they represent the black community. And that's what people have a hard time with. And we have got to wake up to that fact and wake up to that truth, that is how it is. And that's the God knows truth. So with that being said, guys, I just want to say thank you for hearing me out. Peace.
Walk in the truth that makes you free every day. Follow Brother Leon on all social media outlets.